Hi everyone, Curtis here from Goth Rider Creations, and in today's episode we're going to sort out the mould and get the sand coloured for the Sandcaster. Stay tuned. So, as you saw last time, at this aborted attempt at crap, we need to do something about it. Now, as I said last time, I plan to see if I can try and fix this, but it's f***ed. There's no other way to say it. Even now, there's still chunks that are soft.
That's nasty.
There's giant voids. The amount of work involved and in trying to fix this is just not worth it. So this is going to have to go
in the bin.
So then we're on to plan B, which, as I said last time, is to get some pourable silicone, do this mould properly. The only problem is it's currently the 47th of January, and I think it's 2 or 3 more weeks till payday. I can't afford it. There's just no way I can afford 50, 60, 70 quid's worth of silicone, so that's out as well. So, what the f*** do we do? I'm going to do something that I've done many times before, and it's not ideal, but it's a temporary mould. Very much the mould that I made this monstrosity in. So I'm going to use the same backing board, because it's already got the template, the same cardboard, the same hot glue. The only difference is a bit of polystyrene packaging, thanks to my gorgeous wife and her Amazon addiction. So let me make the new mould and I'll show you what I'm doing with this. So very much like last time, we start with the baseboard. I decided to go with a new one because the last one was a bit warped from all the moisture from the silicone. Put down the tape as before. Cut yourself up some cardboard strips. This time I decided to line them with the same tape, just so they don't stick as badly to the mould. Well, this is hoping. And then just placing the guitar on the board and then hot gluing the strips down to conform to the edges. I'm not making a gap this time. It is going tight to the body because obviously that's going to be the complete mould. And then last minute realising I had the guitar the wrong way round. Genius. So thankfully, with me using the hot glue, the high temperature hot glue, you can actually reposition. It does give you a good sort of 60 seconds to 90 seconds before it starts becoming solid. Then once you've got the cardboard template, then it is just sorting out the negative parts of the mould for the cavities. So for this, I literally just traced out the heel of the guitar and then cut it out of the polystyrene. The trick here is to use a really sharp knife or a brand new blade. Polystyrene does not cut very well unless you use a hot wire cutter or something, but a fresh knife you will get about a dozen good cuts. So just trimming that to size. Then for the cavity for the electronics, I just sat there during my lunch hour, definitely not in work hours. My boss does watch these. And then I just templated out with some masking tape the areas that I need for the cavity. So just working out a good alignment and then double checking the depth of the switch. All the other electronics generally don't stick out all that far, but the switch is the bit that you do need to make sure you've got a good depth for. So this is me literally double checking all the placement, making sure that I've got the right depth of polystyrene, and then just tracing out the sections. I just cut this tiny little block just to add the extra depth of the switch, and then cut the rest of it. I believe that was 20mm thick polystyrene. And then once you've got the size you need, just cut out the polystyrene. Now, I did take a few minutes to make sure I had it in absolutely the right spot.
And then it was time for the silicone caulk. So as with pretty much any mould build you've seen, John Malecki or anyone else, just make sure you've got a good bead of silicone around the whole thing. One, it will give you the radius that you need on the edges, because the bottom of the mould is the top of the guitar, and also just saves any resin leaking out into the mould. And then once I had the edges all done, just glued down the polystyrene in the right spots, and that's that.
So, after a day to dry, this is what we have. So, a bit basic, but it will do the trick. So, polystyrene's all good, that's secure. The silicone actually did a better job than I thought of sticking it down, because I know polystyrene doesn't like many glues, so that's actually worked really well. Silicone's all clean, so that is ready. So now we need the sand. And there's the sand. So it's just normal kiddies sand pit play sand. It is quite dark brown, so I'm not sure how well this is going to colour. The darker colours should be fine, the lighter colours I might struggle, but we'll have to see what we can do. So there's kind of two trains of thought for colouring sand. For large amounts, like I'm going to be doing, a lot of people recommend using the alcohol inks and basically the same colourants that you would use for epoxy resin. The mica powders probably won't do much because, yeah, it's just powder, but the actual ink colours or the paste colours, apparently they work really well for doing this. Now, as you know me, I'm a cheapo.
GB the cheapskate!
And that stuff is expensive, and especially the amounts I'm doing, it would cost me 50 quid just in colourants. So what people do for kind of kids project kind of small amounts, little glass jars filled with coloured sand and things, is to use poster paint. And guess what? I went down my favourite pound shop and I got a couple of different colours of white poster paint for £1 each. Now, I don't know how well it's going to colour, but we're going to give it a go and let's see how that goes.
So it's not very complicated with the sand. Just found 3 clean tubs. Apologies, Mrs. Goth Rider, for stealing those. I will clean them out and give them back, honest. So just measured out 3 equal amounts, got a stick and some white poster paint and just went to town. It took a hell of a lot of white. Oh, and this is me taping up the handles because I was getting sand everywhere. Brains. But yeah, it's just squirt 5 tons of paint and mix, and squirt 5 tons of paint and mix. And keep going till your arm goes really, really, really dead. So as you can see, that's pot 1 done with. I did try the drill, but it didn't really do much, so I just carried on hands working it. The black was a lot easier. That was just a good squirt of black. And that pretty much coloured that quite easily. And for the grey, it was just a good amount of white just to get a base area. And then that is pot 2 of white paint, followed quickly by pot 3 of white paint. Good job I stocked up. And then for the grey one, just literally 3 or 4 small squidges of black, and that gave us a nice grey colour. And there you have it, 3 pots of coloured sand.
So there you go, everything you didn't want to know about colouring sand. Now the black I think will dry quite quickly, the grey might take a couple of days, this white-ish stuff, well, it looks like porridge. It is so wet. I mean, it makes sense. I had to put so many bottles of paint in there. Now, what people recommend is before you do the colouring, you chuck the sand in an oven on a low heat for an hour to draw out all of the existing moisture in the sand. Yeah, I didn't do that.
You poor dumb jackass.
So this wet sand, well, it wasn't wet sand, but you know, sand, it's always holding some moisture. That plus the poster paint has turned this into mush. So I've got a feeling this is going to take a few days to dry, but apparently we are being forecast some very nice weather in the next few days, so I might literally lay it out in the sun and see how good I can get. But then again, we've got quite a few cats in the area, ours included, and the last thing I need is little brown nuggets in this thing. So yeah, I might have to come up with a plan. But yeah, so that's all we can do for now until this lot's dry. So in the next episode we will get this mixed up with the resin, get this actually packed out and made, and fingers crossed, unless anything goes majorly tits up, we might actually be able to build this thing. So as always, thank you so much for joining me. Please comment, let us know what you think. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. It doesn't cost anything and it really does help the channel, so I would really appreciate it. And until then, I'll see you all next time. Take care.